Good morning students. Welcome back to computer science class. Today here I am going to explain the last topic of your first unit, type conversion. What is the type conversion and how it can be done, that we'll discuss today. Okay, type conversion. So before going into a type conversion, first let me give a definition of type. What is the type? Okay, how many types we have? In the previous class only I have explained what is a data type, and we have a different types of data type like int, float, char, like the data types we have. See, int is a data type, a equals to 10. What it means? Here a is a variable and 10 is a value and int is a data type. Okay, so this is called as a type. What type of variable it is? Type is nothing but the data type of a particular variable. So in this it is called as a initialization of variable. Initialization. So here what happened? We are assigning value to a variable. Okay, so this is called as a initialization. Now what type of variable is? A is a type of integer. Okay, so here type is nothing but the data type of a particular variable. Okay, what is the type? Type is a data type of a variable. What is the data type? Data type is nothing but what type of value you want to store in a variable and how much memory you are giving to a variable. So that is called as a data type. Understood? What is the type of a variable? Type of a variable is nothing but what type of value you are going to store in that variable is nothing but a type of a variable. It is also called as a data type of a variable. Okay. Now here type conversion is nothing but, here example. Before that also I will give you an example so that you can understand very easily. Int a equals to 10. Int a equals to 10. Int float b equals to 20. C equals to a plus b. Here what is the data type of a? Integer. What is the data type of b? Float. And when you add one integer and one float value, whatever result you are getting, that will be in a float. Okay, so sometimes when you are adding two variables in one expression, there may be a chance to change one data type into another data type. Okay, understood? There is a chance when you are using a different operands in one expression, then what happened? Whatever data type of that variable may change into another data type. Suppose here a equals to 10. Okay, 10.5. 10.5 and b equals to comma b equals to 10. Now float again we'll take example, c is also an integer. C equals to a plus b. Okay, c equals to a. So if you are adding int c equals to a plus b, how much you will get? A value is 10.5 and plus b value is 10. What is the result? 20.5. But what data type I have given? Integer. What result you got? Float. So here whatever float is there, that value is stored in integer, but it will store like a round figure, it will store like this. Okay, so indirectly what happened? Data type of one variable is changing into another data type. Okay, see once again I am explaining. A value is 10.5, b value is 10, c equals to a plus b. A is a float, b is an integer. So finally you are getting a float result only. But wherever you are storing that variable, wherever you are storing that value, that variable data type is an integer. Then what happened? So if the resultant variable is the integer, whatever result is there, that should be integer only. So here this float value is converting into a integer. Okay, so this is called as a type conversion. Okay, so type conversion is nothing but it is a process of changing data type of one variable, one value into another data type. Okay, this is called as a type conversion. What is a type conversion? It is a process of changing one data type value or variable into another data type value or variable. Okay, so what is a type conversion? It is a process of changing one data type value into another data type conversion. Okay, you can change into a float into into, character into a int, short into a int, like that. Means you can change one data type into another data type. So that process is called as a type conversion. Converting one data type into another data type is called as a type conversion. Okay, so here there are two types of type conversion that we'll discuss now. So here you can see that this type conversion is classified into two categories. One is an implicit type conversion, and the second one is an explicit type conversion. See, you can expect this question in short, and it's very important. 101% you can expect this. Okay, so type conversion is again classified into two categories. One is implicit type conversion and the second one is a explicit type conversion. Okay, now we'll discuss about implicit type conversion. Implicit type conversion. See, type conversion is nothing but changing from one data type into another data type. Then what is the implicit type conversion? See, here I'll give you one example. Int a equals to 10, b equals to 20. Float c equals to a plus b. Here, type conversion is there. Yes, it is there. Here, a value is 10, b value is 20. And these both are type of integer. But where I am storing the result in C. And what is the data type of a C? Float. So integer value is converting into a float. But here I have not given any instruction. In this case, compiler automatically convert one data type value into another data type. Like int into a float into a double. Okay, and long double, like that. Means short into a int. Okay, in that cases it does not require any instruction from a user. If compiler is automatically converting one data type value into another data type, then that is called as an implicit type conversion. Okay, so what is the implicit type conversion? If compiler automatically converting one data type value into another data type value without taking any instruction from a user, then that is called as a implicit type conversion. Okay, here this example you can give. You take an example of this. Now, example. Int here converting into to float. Short int to int. Okay, and double to float to double will give. Float to double. Okay, so in this type of conversion, compiler does not require any instruction from a user, because int to float, int is a 2 bytes, float is a 4 bytes. Okay, so means short data type value is converted into a long data type, so it will get a sufficient memory. It means it won't give any error. So in such cases, compiler does not require any instruction from a user. So this type of conversion is called as implicit conversion. Now we'll discuss about explicit type conversion. Explicit conversion. Explicit type conversion. What is a explicit type conversion? Okay. So this type of conversion is done by the programmer. Okay. So implicit means that conversion is done by the compiler automatically without taking any instruction from a user. But explicit type conversion is done by the programmer. Means in this type of type conversion, the programmer will specify what type of data and convert into a what type. Means what should be converted into another data. What data type should be converted into another data type. Okay, means based on the user requirement, here one data type is converted into another data type. Means whatever instructions are there, that instructions are given by the programmer, not by the compiler. Okay, so if the compiler is giving the instructions to convert, if compiler is automatically converting one data type into another data type, that is called as implicit. But if the programmer is giving the instructions to convert data from one data type into another data type, that is called as a explicit type conversion. Okay, so for explicit type conversion, there is a syntax. So the syntax is very important. You have to write syntax in the example. In the exam, data type, expression. This is very important, and you take screenshot of this data type and expression. Means this expression example, this is a integer expression. You want to convert into a float example. They will give like this. Float. What is the expression? Like a 10.5 plus 1, or you can give only 10.5 is also, it is valid. Okay, so this is convert. First this 10.5 is converted into a float, and then 1 will be added. This is called as a explicit type conversion. Okay, here we will give like this C, and this C is also type of float example. So here this is actually, sorry, it is, here I will give 10 plus 1. So this is an integer. We are converting into float, and we are storing in a float. So here what happened? One data type. What data type here? Integer is converting into a float. So type conversion is there. But whatever instruction this float, this who is giving? The programmer is giving. So if the programmer is giving instructions to convert from one data type into another data type, that is called as a implicit type conversion. Okay, so this is a syntax, is an expression, what expression you want to convert into this particular data type, and the result if you want to store, you can give one more variable here. So here 10 plus 1 is an integer. I am storing that integer into a float. This is the resultant variable. This is called as a implicit type conversion. Okay, now we'll write one example program using a type conversion. First I will give you the comment, type conversion program. It is a single line comment. Next, it is a standard input and output header file. Next, I am giving a main function. Next, inside the main function, you need to declare the variable. Here I am declaring a variable double x equals to 1.2. Now I want to convert this into a float, integer, int sum. The resultant variable is a sum. Now I am converting this into a into x plus 1. Okay, now how much you will get, you print that. It is an integer, resultant variable is integer, so I am taking percentile d. Right. So here, what value you are converting? You are converting float into an integer. Okay. So x equals to 1.2. It is a float. X plus. First, this float is converted into integer. So what is the x value now? 1. After converting, 1 is added to this. Now what is the x value now? What is the sum value now? 2. 2 is printed on the output screen. Okay. So whatever value you want to convert, first that is converted into a target data type. Then whatever value you want to add, that will be added. Next, the result is stored in a sum. Finally, we are printing a resultant variable. Okay. Take screenshot of this. It's very important. So, type conversion is over. I hope you all understood type conversion. And the last topic in your first unit, actually, I want to give you this as an assignment. Operator precedence. Operator precedence and associativity. Actually, what it is, I will explain. And you try to learn this from a textbook. I'll give you the material. Okay, because it is a known topic, so that is why I am giving you as a homework. Okay, see example. What is actually you leave the topic. Here you see c equals to a plus b are given. A value is 10, comma b value is 20. Then how this expression is evaluated? First of all, you tell me how many operands here you have. 3 operands you have, 2 operators you have. Okay. So, and how this expression is evaluated? First, a plus b is calculated and that value is stored in a C. Means it is precedence is from right to left. How it is evaluating? Right to left. Okay. So that is different. Now, so this is a plus b, that is calculated first, and that result is stored in a C. Now one more expression I will give. Z equals to x into 2 plus y into 2. Example, x value is 10 and y value is 10 example. Then it is a multiplication. How it is evaluated? First, means here 1 multiplication is there, 2 multiplications are there, 1 plus addition is there, and next assignment is there. If more number of operations are involved, more number of operators are involved in one expression, and more number of operands are involved in one expression, then how that expression is evaluated from right to left or left to right, and which operation is performed, that is called as the operator precedence. Okay, so here first according to the C programming rules, multiplication is having a higher priority than plus and equals to. Means in any expression, if you have a addition and a multiplication, then what happened? Multiplication can be evaluated first, then we'll go to the addition. So here according to that rule, here multiplication is having a higher priority. So first we'll calculate this. What is the x value? 10 into 2, 20. Plus y into 2. What is the y value? 10. 10 into 2, 20. So 20 plus 20. Now 40. That 40 is stored in Z. Okay. So this is called as an operator precedence. If more number of operators are involved in one arithmetic expression or in one logical expression, how that can be evaluated. Okay. So according to the priority. Which operator is having a more priority? According to that operator, that expression is evaluated. Now here I will give you the table. According to that table, you can decide which operator is having a higher priority and how the expression is evaluated. Okay. So this is a table and these are the operators and the priority and the associativity. Associativity means it is moving from, the result is moving from right to left, or that evaluation is from left to right or right to left. So here the operators, this braces, parenthesis, square bracket is having a first priority. Means that is evaluated in the expression first. The next one is the increment operators, second priority, and arithmetic operators, third priority, relational operator, fifth priority, and plus minus is a fourth priority, logical and logical are sixth and seventh priority, and here it is a conditional operator is a eighth priority, and this compound operator is a ninth priority. Okay, means according to the priority, the expression is evaluated. Okay, you take one example and you try to evaluate this expression. So you give one mathematical expression and you give the you check the how the operators are evaluating. Okay, because in this this you have to present by using one example, and you can expect this in a short. See, you write one expression with the multiple operators and multiple operands, and then you explain how that expression is evaluated. Okay, so this is your assignment. Okay, now with this your first unit is over. In the next class I am going to start the second unit. So in the first unit we discussed about what are the basics of computers, what are the programming languages, generations of programming languages, what is an algorithms, and what are the flow charts, and what are the tokens. The introduction part of C programming also we completed. Introduction to computer, introduction to programming languages, introduction to hardware, introduction to software, introduction to operating system, introduction to C programming. Okay, so all the basics are completed with this. In the second unit, third unit, fourth unit, complete programming part you have. Okay, so from next unit, whatever topics I'm going to explain, for each and every topic there is a program, and you need to explain that topic with the example program only, because whenever you get that topics in the exam, they will give you half marks for your theory and half marks for your program. Okay, so with the theory, program is also important, and to write a program you need to know about the theory. So both are interdependent. So you try to watch videos regularly and you do the program, and we'll do the program in the live classes.